So, still, ooh, these ones are pretty big. These ones came isopods, sees noise and become pupae. Okay, so I'm making like little enclosures for isopods, springtails, mealworms, and then black soldier fly larvae. So I have stuff for terrariums, bioactive enclosures, and stuff like that. So pretty much for most of these, what I did was, like, this one's for springtails, so I wanted smaller air holes, just drilled some holes in and put some screens. And then for the isopod ones, just basically the same thing, but a square, and I hot glued it in. And then I didn't put screen, but I might for the mealworm ones. So this is gonna be like a 2-bin system where the beetles, which are adult mealworms, they're gonna live in the top, and then I will just swap out the tops here as they grow. So like the eggs will fall through the screen underneath and then will grow into worms. So then I'll have like more adult worms, and then I can move over the pupa into beetles into here, and then that way I can keep like medium to large size mealworms, and then little small size mealworms in that one. And then I'm working on a small black soldier fly larvae little farm thing, because I want to give her a really good meal source, so I like her insects. So yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. Good morning. It is the next day, and I got my springtails little enclosure all finished up, and then I wanted to update how I did my black soldier fly larvae little farm thing. So yeah. Okay, so for my springtails enclosure, originally it was in this with this activated charcoal. I just dumped it all in here. I'm gonna eventually like take it all out, so that I can reuse it for a breeding little culture area, maybe, I don't know. But activated charcoal also is great for terrariums, so I can crush it up. But since they were all in this container with a little bit of water, and I was feeding them with some activated yeast, I just dumped the entire container in there, and a lot of my culture had died. But I did notice there were some still living in there, so I just went ahead and created this enclosure for them, for the ones that were still living. I did also order some more. So what I did was I mixed some sphagnum moss, these like coconut bark chips, which they will like feast on, and a little bit of soil and some water. And I think I put a little bit too much water, so I don't want pretty much I don't want them to like drown. But yeah, so I've been I accidentally mixed all of the charcoal pieces in, so I've been kind of searching for them, that soil, so that I can use them for other purposes. But I wanted to make sure all of the live springtails did in fact come off, those charcoal pieces. So they're in there, and I just had a bunch of leaf trimmings, so I put those in there for the springtails to eat. Like I said, I do have more coming since majority of my little colony had died. I think I just put too much yeast as their food in this container when they were in there, because that's what they came in originally, and I was going to leave it like that. But from what I read, they actually thrive better in this kind of environment than they do in just water and activated charcoal, because since they float in water, it's super easy to get a bunch out when you're trying to like fully change the water, when you fully change the water to give them fresh water. But yeah, so there's a few in there, very few. And since I just realized I didn't even finish that thought. The culture tends to die off quickly when you keep it like this, because you can't change the water mix as often as you would. And then in here, like, this is mimicking their natural environment. They live in soils and place out there. They feast on decaying organic matter like leaves and plants, and oftentimes also animal waste. So I have it in here and on top of my vivarium for now, so that it can allow moisture to escape, because right now where the sun like basking spot is, it's 100 and something, 106 degrees. So that way it can heat it up, and also higher temperatures helps them reproduce. So that works. This one right here is my normal, the lid that I made for it with a bunch of smaller holes, because they do like moist areas. But because I think I put too much water, I put this one on it for now. So let me show you my worm farms here. Okay, so for my black soldier fly larvae, I kind of made this up more or less from what I'm doing. I put this screen down here, and I may end up just removing it, and I'll tell you why in a second. But so this top one is basically where all the larvae are going to live. I've seen so many different versions of this, and I didn't want something ginormous. So there's actually some in there. You can probably see them moving. Yeah, there's quite a few, and they're getting quite big. So I might actually, which I'm gonna take some out and actually feed them to the bearded dragon here in a few, because they are getting big. And I had gotten quite a large container of them, so I can feed some off right now before I allow them to grow and become flies. And so with this container, I have it at an angle. So on this end, I'll dig some out over here. You'll see that there is, oh wow, I don't even know what was in frame. Cool. There's some holes here, and then same with just under right here where they are. There's some holes there, so any excessive moisture can drain out into the bottom, and also try to drain out some waste as well. But I put this screen in here to help prevent any flies from escaping the entire enclosure. And then since black soldier fly larvae, once they start to pupate, they turn into a black worm, basically. They look like a black color version of that. And they want to get away from this mess. They want to go and be kind of alone. And typically they seek going up. So this whole thing is at an angle, so that they can come up here and then just fall down into that little box that I made there. So I want to try to collect them all. I want to try to collect them because those are going to be the ones that become flies. And so I kind of want them just all be concentrated in one spot, but I also didn't want them to be in this entirety of the container in case I needed to like rinse it out. It's going to be a little difficult to rinse it because I hot glued every single edge of this, but it won't be impossible. So not too worried there. And then I have this here. So when I do want to harvest the worms to feed, because that's why I'm making this little farm, is to feed the bearded dragon these worms. I don't want flies to escape, so flies will probably end up here more than anything. So I put this cardboard here because that's where the flies like to mate and lay eggs. So they'll lay eggs in like the edges over here of the cardboard. But yeah, so it also made it easy. So I'm hoping majority of the flies will end up here in this top part. So then I can take a few of the worms that fall down in here and also feed those to my bearded dragon. So this is just like a double protected thing, and I didn't think about adding that top piece of, it's like basically a screen, until after I like did everything else, because I kind of made this up as I went based on like other people's situations that they've made their little container thing. Most people will do like a ginormous thing, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that. So for now, that is the setup there. And then for my mealworms, I've got a 3-bin system. So I've got 2 here. I don't have any beetles, but beetles will live up here. I have a couple of worms that did become pupae already, so they like to basically just hang out by themselves and hang out literally just like that. In a semi-moist environment. And make sure they're still wet. Yeah, it's still wet in there. So there's that. So then the beetles, I guess I don't need to close that, but the beetles will live in here. And then the whole entire bottom is screen mesh. So the beetles will lay their eggs down in here. And then the eggs will basically just fall down into here, so then the worms will hatch there. And I don't have any beetles, so I don't have anything in either of those containers except for those 2 pupae. So then I have, so like the bottom container I've designated as for small worms, so I will just kind of let them be, and then as they get bigger, transfer them over. Maybe, oh look, I have a pupae right there. So basically all I'm gonna do is just take it and place it. See how like that one is super white, the one I just put in. This one's the oldest, and you can see that it's like starting to change colors a little bit differently and growing some legs. And then that one I just put in, I think yesterday or this morning, I don't remember. And then that one I just now put in. So they just hang out like that until they change into a beetle. So then once they're a beetle, I'll take them out of this container and then just let them roam around in here. And I'll put in like carrots or potatoes or something for a water source. And so I think this one right here is getting ready to molt and become a pupae. This one right here too, because that's what they do. They just come to the surface. I don't have a whole lot in here because I just took a few from my dad's little farm. I actually ordered more so I can hurry along this process because I was being impatient. I probably didn't need to, but that's fine. Beetles don't live that long, so a larger colony is going to be better. Anyway, yeah, see there's some worms crawling down underneath. And some of the substrate was a like pre-made or like commercial brand I ordered that I'm just trying to get rid of. And then just oatmeal. So Yeah, there were a few down in here. And you don't want it to be too thick just because they will, I need a water source in here for them. I think these veggies have dried out. But you don't want it too thick because they could potentially like suffocate if there's too much substrate, basically. Oh, yep, there's another one that will probably burrow itself down there again. So yeah, see, those ones are like, nope, I gotta go. Whereas these ones are just chilling up here. So those are getting ready to molt and become pupae. Yeah, and those ones are like, nope, I'm not ready. Gotta go hide. They don't really like the light. They're a little light sensitive. So that's my setup here. So my plan is to try to keep as many small worms in here as possible and then just take out the larger worms. But really what might end up happening is once I see a good amount of them being like a lot larger, I'm just gonna swap the two containers like that. Something like that. Or I do have extra containers. I might just move or make another one. I'm not sure. I will just play it by ear and see how it goes. But all I know is I needed for sure a tray for beetles because the beetles will eat the larvae and the pupae and the eggs. And so a way for the eggs to fall down to be able to become worms, and then a place for worms and pupae to kind of live, like bigger worms. And also I can harvest worms from this container to feed to the bearded dragon. I don't feed these as often to my bearded dragon as I would the black soldier fly larvae because the exoskeleton's a lot harder for her to digest, but it's not terrible. It's just another option, and giving a variety is definitely a necessity, a variety of insects. Okay, so basically all I do to harvest some worms is just find them. Majority of them are like way down in here. And I do want to grab some bigger ones to feed. And into, I don't want to put that in there, but I'll put it off to the side. And she doesn't need a whole lot of these. She hasn't had a whole lot of insects in a few days, so she is going to love that. And since she's an adult, she doesn't need insects every single day. Whereas juvenile bearded dragons do need insects pretty much every single day. Oh, wow. I'm over here searching and there's a huge little pile right there. There's a teeny tiny one I dropped in. I want to let you grow some more. Let's see. They're all good size, so we will let them be. These are all basically like adults, so they're gonna become pupae soon, I think. That one is tiny. We're gonna put it back. Come off the tweezers. Okay, so black soldier fly larvae are actually really high in calcium. So they are typically quite a good option for a bearded dragon. However, you still want to dust in calcium. This is her leftover salad from yesterday, so I'm just gonna give that to these guys to basically devour and clean up for me, essentially. So yeah, so between like that and kitchen scraps, they just become just like a circle of life essentially. So but yeah, wow, I have a whole lot in there and they're all getting pretty big. I bought them small so that I could have time to come up with my little setup here. So hopefully this works out and I don't have to buy them. So they're all more than likely going to flock to all of this. I put eggshell in here to see how they would do, and I don't think they really like it as much, so that's good to know. I don't know what this guy's doing, but you can come back over here. But yeah, and then I just put this like a toilet paper roll to provide them a place to kind of hide. I wonder if there's a whole bunch just chilling right over here. Oh yeah. Okay, done with those guys. I think I've blabbed on enough about these worms, getting them for Chance, my bearded dragon, and then since I don't have any flies, this isn't that hard or that big of a deal. So not entirely sure what I'm gonna do to get some worms other than getting the ones that are down here, especially once they continuously start growing and becoming pupae. Because my thoughts are there's going to be a good amount down in the little container. I will let some of them grow and become flies, and then their life cycle is very small, so basically they will grow, lay eggs, and then that's their life, and then die in here. And as weird as it is, they will eat the dead because that's just the life cycle that they live. So okay, so then the next step is to add some calcium. I like to put a little bit in the lid. I'm almost out, so this is definitely not working out very well one-handed. And she doesn't need a whole lot because these guys are already in, like, they're already just naturally high in calcium. I'm gonna put a little bit more so that they're all a little bit more coated. Yeah. I just don't want to waste it because that's all I have right now. It's almost gone. And then normally I give this to her once a week on Mondays, and it is a vitamin with D3, but I don't think she consumed very much because I just had put it on top of her greens. So give her just a little bit of that. Yeah, see, that's always the problem with just dusting it like that. There's just so much in the bottom, but that's okay. She might end up with some as she like goes to eat these guys, gets her tongue onto the bottom of the bowl, that kind of thing. So yeah. Okay, so then for her salad that I know she's probably not gonna eat a whole lot, I just had this pre-prepped. Okay, yeah, that's still pretty good. I've had it for like a week. It's just some arugula, some carrots, which are like drying out, so those are probably like ready to be tossed. And then some bell peppers. Well, not to be tossed. It will be, what's the word? Fed to the worms, basically. And I could actually use some of these bell peppers in my mealworm farm. It's better, carrots are better, especially like large chunks of carrots, so that, what is the word? So that they last longer, there's more moisture longer. And then a lot of the time I have rapashi, which is like a gelatin mixture. It's supposed to be like an all-in-one. I just have some on hand just to make sure she's getting nutrients, whatever she may need. I just always have some ready, and I just add it to her salad, which, as you saw how much was left over from yesterday, she did not eat a whole lot of. But she is in a temporary enclosure right now, so her entire like life is quite not normal right now. So she's not eating like she normally does. Okay, yeah, so this is her temporary enclosure. It's very, very lackluster. I had just opened it to get her other bowl out. So there is, oh, her salad. And then I am actually just gonna toss these worms right on top of it so that also some of that, those vitamins and calcium powder. You can see she's eyeing it, so she sees the movement. So hopefully she goes after it. It's been a few days since I gave her a bunch of worms, so hopefully she just goes straight to it. Please? So I put one right next to her. Let's see if she sees it and she'll eat it. Like, her appetite hasn't been crazy because this enclosure is definitely way too small for her to live in permanently, but I definitely want to see if she'll eat it. It's like crawling towards her foot. I don't think she sees it. That sucks. Let's see. There's a worm here. See if she'll eat it out of the tongs. As long as I stop dropping it. Try not to squish it, so that's really... Oh, she saw it. She might go get it. Please go get it. Come on, get the worm. Fuck. Okay. I'm just gonna leave those there. See if I can get her attention with the worms, because the container, oh yeah, one already came out of there. The bowl is a little wet, so these worms will move. They'll be able to move when it's wet. So, oh, she's looking at the bowl. Oh, now she's looking at me. Oh, okay. Okay, so I moved her to her bowl. Now I'm hoping she will, ow. I moved her to her bowl, so I'm hoping she'll see the worms and eat. There she goes. She sees them. Nice. Oh, she got some carrots. She likes the carrots. Oh, and some salad. See, that's exactly why I put them in there with the worms. So, oh, she loves those bell peppers. Nice. Because she'll see the worms, try to go for worms, and then inevitably get some food. She does love the rapashi too, and that's what she just ate. So, yeah. I'll just let her be. Oh, good. I like how she's probably eaten everything but a worm. But that's okay. And that's why I also dusted, or just dumped the worms in the bowl, so that she will also get some of that powder. And then her little nostril there is still, oh, she's done. Okay, well, maybe you'll see those worms. Hopefully they don't all climb out though. So, but anyway, back to that. She has a little bit of shed. Oh, it's the other side, but she has some shed on her little nostril that, oh, I'm not even showing her. That needs to come off, but she's not been too happy with me helping her out. So I just need to give her a little bath soak to help her get that stuck shed. Ooh, she might be eyeing them worms. Anyway, I'll let her be now. Okay, so this is her normal enclosure. So I recently, in the last couple weeks, just made it into a bioactive enclosure. This is basically cat grass, but every single type of seed. It's like wheatgrass, oat seed, something like that. They're all safe, bearded dragon safe. And then this is arugula sprouts that I don't know if they're gonna live. I should have waited till there were mature plants before planting them in here. Pothos, which I'm hoping she doesn't like totally like kill off, but once it starts to vine some more, I want to like put it along the back. And then of course a snake plant, aloe vera. This won't stay in here, just put it in here because there is a plant light. This back one is a plant light. This front one is UVB. And then the basking light is supposed to have UVB rated whatever in it as well. So that is the enclosure there. Majority of like this side is piled up with some soil and dirt to allow for the cleanup crew. I used some springtails and some orange isopods. Hopefully they're thriving in here. This side's pretty moist. You can see some like moisture sitting down here. I used some lava rock as a drainage layer, so that should be helpful there. And then I may need to remove some of the sphagnum moss so this aloe vera doesn't die off. Might keep it too moist. I picked the wrong part of the tank to plant this in. What I should have done was put it back here where I can control it and keep it a lot more drier back there, and then put the pothos up here instead, but that's okay. I don't feel like digging up the whole tank and redoing it. I just have to be mindful about the moisture level here for aloe vera, but I am letting all of the plants get acclimated, rooted, get their roots all in the soil. And then this is a spineless prickly pear cactus. And it is just barely growing roots right now. I had it in some water because when I bought it, I thought it was already rooted, but it was not. It was just the pad. So is what it is. But I also want the cleanup crew to thrive and reproduce so that it just creates a whole little ecosystem in here. I did just spray in here, so right now the humidity kind of over here, the ambient humidity is 22, which is fine in a bioactive enclosure for a bearded dragon. And then over here it's 10%, which is perfect because that's like the hot spot. And then it's about 106 over here. It just went down because I have the doors open, and I just got these two light fixtures in, so I'm not sure how the temperature and humidity is going to look yet. So still keeping her in her temporary enclosure while I determine what the like heat levels are going to end up being, the humidity, and allowing all of the little critters to reproduce. One thing that's a little concerning is there's like mold growing over here, so I'm not sure what to do about that. I think it should be okay because the cleanup crew will eat it all, basically. I also love that I can see all the roots. I think that's so cool. What else? There is some here, but I did toss in some microfauna and bacteria and stuff into the soil mixture, so that doesn't surprise me, and that's totally fine there. But it's cool to see in the morning because I have like some rock like showing through the glass here where it's moist, so that shows me where the moisture is being held, which is good because the isopods and the springtails do need moisture to be able to live, basically. So I know with these, whatever remaining springtails in there, I will have to make sure I release some moisture and air and stuff as like it gets, as long as it doesn't get too warm. I think I'll move it over a little bit. It should be okay. And then I haven't got them in yet, but I'm gonna have some other isopods, like some dairy cow isopods, in their own container with essentially the same exact setup as I did for the springtails. So I can use them for future terrarium projects I want to do. But yeah, that's my current setup for my worm farms and my bioactive enclosure. So I'm hoping once I get everything situated, give it time to, you know, fully root down, kind of like how those plants, let them get all rooted in there. I know my snake plant, when I put it in, and this could have been a mistake, could not affect anything. It had very few roots as it was because it had some root rot when I repotted it and then decided to just put it in here when I did this. So I know it needs some time to get a ton of roots established. And I know the grow light is going to help a lot. This leaf up here, that's all curly. I had a plant light just sitting in the corner over here until I had gotten in the linear bulbs. So it's like, it was like growing towards that light. So that will be cool to see it move back up towards the light up above it. And then I had been spraying down like this little area every single day, spraying down like the background so water can trickle down into where it needs to go for the plants, and then spraying down over here every single day, because when I had the light in here, this door had to be open just a little bit, just how it sat in there, which was fine. It was a temporary situation anyway. But now that I have these linear bulbs, which I just put in yesterday, I will have to monitor everything, see where the humidity levels are in the morning, and then what it looks like in terms of the humidity down in the soil, and determine how often I need to actually mist the environment, the enclosure, because I don't want it to be too humid. And I do want to allow for some spots to be more moist and warm for the cleanup crew to thrive, and then they can choose between a moist and more dry spot depending on how they need to, as they would in the natural environment. So also one thing I do want to add at some point is the little tiny rock on the top there comes off. So I want to add pothos, so I have a golden marble pothos, I'm going to let grow out into a long vine and then cut off as many leaves as I need to put it down into the water, because the water level mostly is in that back corner. The depthness of it is in that back corner. So I can take off that top and then put in a vine, let it be a water bound thingamabob plant, and just let it live there. And since there's a ton of airflow because it's a water pump, it will significantly thrive in there. So once I have a vine that gives me a long enough stem to put in there and has a few leaves on it, so then I can just kind of put it in there. And yeah, so now that I've blabbed for a million years, that is the enclosure that I have going on here. And as soon as I get my isopods in the mail, I'll update that whole process, which actually, okay, so I just checked the mail and I should be getting my isopods today. So I'm gonna set up their little containers. I already made the top, drilled some holes, glued some screen on top, basically. So yeah, starting with some coconut bark, and then some sphagnum moss, and then some sphagnum moss, and then some soil, and then I just need to mix it up. Okay, so then I added some water and then some egg carton cardboard stuff, because they will break that down and eat it, and it gives them a place to hide as well. So yeah, as soon as I get them in, when they arrive in the mail, I'll place them in these little bins. Okay, sprayed it down with some more water, and yeah, now I wait for them to be delivered. So I got some springtails. You can see little tiny guys. So I am just going to dump this whole container right on in there. So yeah, you can see a bunch of them in there moving. They do jump, so I need to hurry up and get this in here. Got some dwarf white isopods. They're tiny. They're still bigger than the springtails though. So I'm just gonna dump this whole container in and just let them be. Yeah, you can see some more crawling around. They will find places to burrow, and yeah, just let them be, let them grow. I will have to monitor and make sure that there is at least a side of the container that is moist enough for them. And oh, there's two left in here, you can see them, so I need to get those out. Okay, so these ones, ooh, these ones are pretty big. These ones came on paper towels. So I actually probably will just put the whole paper towel in the little enclosure thing. And there we go. We got them in their new home. I'm just gonna leave the paper towel in there. It will decompose, whatever it may be. And yeah, this will be their new home. I'll let them just do their thing. Okay, so these ones are powder blue isopods, and I'm just gonna toss the whole thing in. And just let them be. There's a bunch right there. Oh, some are already in the enclosure in the bottom here. You see those ones moving. Yeah, so just let them be. And yeah. I'm gonna just end this video here. I think it's been long enough, to be honest, especially with the amount that I just blabbed about all of the insects that I have and isopods and my bearded dragon whole feeding situation. Yeah, so I'm gonna end this video here. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's definitely me trying to branch out into my multiple of different interests and hobbies and not just stick to the fitness world, which is what I have been doing lately. So if you liked this video, please subscribe to my channel and like and comment and share this video with someone who you think might also like it. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.